Welcome back to another episode of the Basalon Cycling Podcast. I'm your host, Sherry. Joining me today is Juliana Veterano. She is an ultra cyclist, also host of the Zone to Speak podcast, and on top of it, a holistic personal coach. Welcome to the show, Juliana.
Thank you. So happy to be here. I was telling you it's my first podcast, so reverse. So I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited too. I mean, just saying all of that, I wonder how you manage all. Yeah, how is life as a host and then on top running your business? I mean, it's really also kind of related. I'm curious also what's your approach to a lot of the ultra cycling events you do, as you have a bit more insights into nutrition, training,
Yeah,
and I guess recovery. So can you tell us a bit more, like how did you get into ultra and what kind of events you think like, oh, that's been my highlights?
sure. Yeah. I joke about that. I should be giving a TED talk on multitasking because I do a lot of wear a lot of hats during the day. So many things in my life, but I actually come from triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
I did triathlon for over a decade and I really, really loved it. And I never picture myself doing anything else. But when I met my now husband, he was starting to do gravel, or he was already
Mm-hmm.
doing gravel. And at that time, I was also injured. I had so much knee pain,
Mm-hmm.
but I would still race and I would still run and I would be like icing my knees after every single run. And then Miguel, my husband now, was like, just stop this triathlon, just stick to cycling. But for me, it was like my identity, I couldn't picture myself.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I really wanted to do an ultra because he had done, I think, two or three by then. And I was very intrigued, but triathletes don't climb and
Mm-hmm.
ultras are just climbing. So I was very intimidated. But yeah, I got a matching gravel bike to his, and he taught me everything. And I really, really fell in love. I think not just the sport, but mainly the community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love triathlon, and I don't have anything bad to say about it, but it's very, very different. I think triathlon,
Yeah.
it's like very corporate.
Yeah.
and, and it's very competitive, very elite. Where at ultras, you show up with like a really beat up old bike, and people are like, "What? Wow,
Yeah.
you are my hero!"
Yeah, exactly.
And there is really the camaraderie between the competitors. It's a different level. There's no way in a triathlon someone is going to stop for you. Granted, triathlons are much shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you do an Ironman, it's a day competition, while in the ultra, it's more than a day. So I guess it's different that if you stop for 15, 20, 30 minutes, in an
Yeah.
ultra, it might not cost you as much, but it is a different vibe. And I really fell in love. Yeah, and the rest is history. I'm not running anymore.
That's good not to get injured. I had the same.
Yeah.
Like I used to be a runner and I was getting injured all the time, like knee pain. And then since I started just cycling, knee pain went away.
Exactly. It's a different, yeah, no wear and tear pretty much.
Yeah. And from the ultra races or bikepacking events that you've done, which ones are your highlights that you will say, oh, that's kind of encouraged me to do more, or it's been like a bit of a life changing experience for good or not so good?
Yeah, I think there are two. I think my first one, which was biking in Portugal, I did it with my husband, and
Mm-hmm.
I went in completely blind and really pushed myself. We had a very good time. But I think the one that sealed was the race around Rwanda,
Mm.
which I did as a pair with Juliet.
Ah,
And
nice.
after that, we started doing a lot of things together. We met in Kenya, and then she wanted to get into ultra. We were supposed to race across Andes,
Mm-hmm.
and we both got COVID, but I got it before
Oh.
her. So I still
Mm-hmm.
went and tried, but I had to stop around kilometer 400 because I kept on getting a fever.
Yeah.
So the DNF is the story of my life, like it feels like I can't finish, but I still feel super accomplished,
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, doesn't matter how far you go, it's not an easy feat.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, then we finally got together and did Rwanda. And in Rwanda, I had a lot of knee pain. I think it was also a lot of learnings for me on the train drive. I didn't know, like, oh, different cassettes. I didn't know any of that. Sometimes you learn by making mistakes. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just too heavy. And it was such a shame because we were over 700 kilometers. So it was so little to finish.
Yeah.
But I just was in a lot of pain. But that race, we had just a blast. And I'm like, I just want to continue to do this.
Exactly. I think that's something that people forget, or maybe the media doesn't portray it as much. Like we see all the time the people at the front, like just suffering and pushing through, but we forget about the rest of the people. They show us 10 people at the front, but what about the other 200 at the back,
Yeah.
that just pushing themselves? And also, a lot of people just want to do it to have fun, to experience a new place, to meet new people. So I think that's something like really inspiring, even like to push or not to push at this time. I experienced my first DNF last month, I think.
Oh no.
And yeah, I think sometimes we struggle to just say, okay, I don't want to continue, but it's fine, it's your adventure. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's a wise decision to do sometimes. And sometimes you don't have to make excuses. You just like feel like you don't want to do this. So
Exactly. Exactly. I
why
think,
pushing through pain?
yeah. Yeah. I think Rwanda, I wanted to continue, but we couldn't find any medical clinic, nothing, because I just wanted someone to say, like, yeah, you can keep on pushing and you're not going to make major long term injury. That's not going to happen. But not knowing that, and because I had
Hmm.
injuries before, with the triathlon and,
Yeah,
icing my knee every time I train, I was like, I just don't want to finish this for
yeah.
what? To then not
Hmm.
be able to do what I love for how long?
Hmm.
So turns out it was a simple injury and I was able to fix it quickly.
Hmm.
And it probably wouldn't be a big deal if I continue. But when you are blind, I mean, for me, it was the wisest decision to stop. We were also at a point at the race that it was a really tough road. I think it was a big letdown, even though we loved the race. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but we were like, let's. I told Juliet, I want to make it through the jungle. I want to cross the jungle. But when we got there, the jungle was actually all tarmac with
Hmm.
huge trucks passing through, and there was no shoulder. And then it
Yeah.
started to pouring rain. So it was like one thing after the other. And then we started pushing the bike because it was very dangerous.
Hmm.
And then we got cold. And then we're like, okay, this is it. Let's
Yeah.
stop. Um, and I think, like, if you're in peace with the DNF and you know you made the right decision, I think it's fine. I think it's hard when someone keeps on running things back on their head, like, what could I do different? What could I do different? And for me, I'm always okay. I mean, of course, it's good to learn, but I don't want to be like, oh, I learn a lesson every time.
Yeah.
But it's just like I made a decision and I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to be giving myself a hard time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what inspired you to start the Zone to Speak podcast? I mean, you interview not only ultra cyclists or people like from gravel racing. So it's because you started to meet people and you just wanted to share the stories, like kind of behind the scenes. It's always fun to hear why people decide to, on top of it, like do a show or what inspires them.
Yeah, so I was going through a change in my life where I left my corporate job and I
Mm-hmm.
really just want to like ride my bike and put efforts into growing my business, which is Genki Wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a friend, a cycling, one of my best friends. I learned a lot about riding with her when I lived in Miami, and we have
Mm-hmm.
video calls here and there to catch up. And then during those calls, where I was like, we need a podcast. We need to start recording our conversations.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea sparkles. Okay, let's just talk about cycling because that's what brought us together. That's our passion. Let's create this podcast about cycling in general because,
Hmm.
she's a roadie and I'm a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how it started. And we were just really learning on the go, like how to record, how to edit, and creating, a new social media account just for Zone 2. And I think we did about, I don't know, 7 or 10 episodes together.
Oh, wow.
But then Debbie, my co-host, best friend that we started the podcast together, she decided she wanted to talk more than just cycling and wanted to do her own
Hmm.
thing. And we
Hmm.
decided to split, and
Hmm.
it's fine. We're still very good friends. And I continue with Zone 2. And yeah, I really loved it. Like you said, just, getting the stories after the races. I also just don't want to talk with the champions. I want to talk to everyday people.
Yeah.
I think there are so many cool stories that are inspiring and funny and so many different flavors that there's an audience for everything. And I mean, I love everything about cycling. So that's why I decided to continue.
Yeah, so you were talking about you did Biking Man Brazil as your
Oh,
first event, and
yeah.
you're from Brazil. So
Yeah.
now you lived in the US, and now you're living in Girona. That's a
Yeah.
really exciting. You've been all around the world. How does it come because of your job or?
A little bit. So, yeah. So I was born in Brazil. And then
Mhm.
when I was about 20 years old, I moved to the US. I went to Seattle for school.
Ah,
And
cool.
then I lived in New York most of my life. I think it's the place I lived the longest.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a mom in New York. Yeah, then I was working. So yeah, I was working. I had financial consultant job,
Yeah.
and I became a mom. And it was very tough living in New York City. So we moved to
Yeah.
Miami, and then my job took me to Dubai.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so I was in Dubai for 10 years, and it's great because it's such a I mean, I love Dubai. It's super safe, very comfortable, and very central. So I was like racing everywhere, just hopping on a plane, and you get to Europe, you get to Asia, you get to Africa, US and Latin America a little bit further away. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then I think in 2023, a lot of changes in my life, and we decided, let's change our lifestyles. So I quit
Mm-hmm.
my corporate job and we moved to Girona because we came here for Traca in 2022 and we loved it. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we are here now, just yeah, riding bikes. My husband travels for work, so it doesn't matter really where he is.
Yeah.
And I'm working also from home. The wellness, I can do it globally because everything is virtually now.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
do you apply what you know about wellness and health to your races? Like, is there any like top tips you will give to
Ooh.
somebody looking into like going on long rides or improving their health? For example, I find we were talking about it before the podcast. I just arrived from a trip and I really feel like my biorhythm change and then everything goes downhill if I cannot sleep my 9 hours a day, have my
Yeah.
recovery foods. Then I start like really once you get used to knowing how good you can feel, it's hard to go back.
100,000%. Yeah. And I love my routine. So for me, one of the biggest things is create a routine that you love, create a
Hmm.
routine that is accessible. You can't work with clients and create things that are unachievable,
Hmm.
that it's not feasible on their day to day,
Hmm.
someone that travels a lot or someone that stays home a lot, different things, different needs. Um, and what I also like to work is it's different because there is not one recipe. And that's what I learned because I started studying when I was studying triathlons because everything you hear so many different things and I'm like, what am I supposed to
Yeah.
do? I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do. And of course I learned, which a lot of people know now because there's so much information out there, that nutrition is bio individual. So it really
Yeah.
depends on each individual. Of course there is a formula, of course there's macros, there are calories, and there's a little bit of a formula that you need to follow. But with that, what works on your body? What's inflammatory for your body?
Mm-hmm.
What's not? So those are the things that we have to test and learn to get to a good place. And I also like to work in building habits slowly. So I do like a 2 week to a month on
Mm-hmm.
building new habits. I cannot just tell you, here's the laundry list, implement,
Yeah.
Sherry.
Yeah.
So, usually I see, okay, what are the bigger needs here for this person? Let's work on that. And then
Mm-hmm.
when that becomes a little bit more of a habit, okay, let's top it up with something else or eliminate something, right? So, really working on those habits until you are in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone that comes to me and want like immediate results, I tell them I'm not for you.
Yeah.
Uh, some people that want to lose weight and they're like, oh no, but what about Ozempic and things like that, and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I can prescribe, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's not how I work. But yeah, so for sports, it's what I think what everybody already knows. There's no
Mm-hmm.
shortcut. There's
Yeah.
really no shortcut. You have to create habits, and you have to see what it works for you.
Yeah.
Um, you have, the big talk about carbs, 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 carbs. I think also everything, take it with a grain of salt. Like after a
Mm-hmm.
ride, you don't need to eat immediately protein.
Yeah.
This has been debunked. Yes, you just need to eat well on the day to day, and you need
Mm-hmm.
to reach your macros. For me, the biggest thing that I could tell anyone is please eat carbs. Please eat
Yeah.
carbs. You're not gonna get fat. You're not gonna get
Yes,
fat.
I used to think that. Yeah.
No,
It's
me
hard.
too. It's
It's
hard.
hard.
It's hard because
Mm-hmm.
we are so wired, especially as women, we're
Mm-hmm.
so wired to not eat carbs. And of course, I'm talking about good carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but we can also eat bread, anything that is not processed. If you get fresh bread from a good bakery that is not, full of crap and preservatives, it's fine. Everything moderation, obviously, but I think the most important thing, especially for women, is eat your carbs. Eat your carbs during your workouts. Every 45 minutes, eat something. I love making rice cakes, and when I was training and I was my strongest and I was my fittest and the leanest, you have no idea how much rice I ate. Like
Yeah.
there was no tomorrow. Bowls of rice with every meal, rice cakes on every ride, and you that's fuel for your engine. If
Yeah.
you don't have that fuel for your engine is going to start eating your own lean mass. So
Yeah.
if you think you're losing weight, you are, but
Yeah.
you're going to start losing muscle first, and you're not going to get strong, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start to feel tired. So
Yeah,
I think,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me that's the biggest thing. Like eat your carbs. Yes, you must eat protein, obviously, because it's cell generation and so many things about protein, and it's important, but you don't need to eat 30 minutes after workout.
Yeah,
You can wait
exactly.
your next meal. You don't need to have a
Yeah.
shake right away.
Yeah, I think you get all of these ideas from the media. And as you said, as women, sometimes we are told, like, yeah, you have to be super skinny. And I think one of the mistakes I did when I started doing ultracycling, to be honest, one of my motivations was to lose weight. So I was starving myself on top on the races. You don't
Oh
have enough
no.
calories. And I was dieting. And then I was bonking on the races. Because I ran purposely out of food. And also in my training, I was like, no, I'm doing 2 hours without eating anything because I need to lose weight. And then I had a coach and he told me, like, you have to eat X amount of carbs. And it was so hard. It's like, oh my God, he's telling me to eat 60 grams of carbs. This is how many calories. It's like, then what am I cycling for? But then
Yeah,
you are less hungry and you actually eat
exactly.
less after the ride. Is like
Exactly.
I was starving myself during the ride, and then I will go home, and then I was so
Eat
hungry
everything in
that
the
I eat more.
fridge. Yeah,
So it was actually detrimental, but it's so hard to overcome this
it is
unless
hard.
somebody kind of say to you and hold you accountable. It's like, did you eat your carbs? Or yeah.
Yeah. What I do a lot with my clients is to send me pictures. I'm like the police. I don't want to see,
Yeah.
what you input on an app. I want to see the actual meal. What are you eating?
Yeah.
So I can really see what type of carbs you were eating and how much you were eating and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's hard to overcome for a lot of us. I've
Yeah,
been
and
there.
also for recovery, like especially ultras, I feel I love ultra cycling and going for long distance, but sometimes it can be a bit unhealthy because you are in such a rush and you cannot put all the calories from good foods because you need so many that
Yeah.
you just end up eating haribo for 5 days. And then yeah, you really notice the inflammation on your body and the long-term consequences of sleep deprivation or being in the same
Yeah.
position all day. So then you
Yeah.
have to put like extra care into the recovery because otherwise it just drags on. I think that's a
Yeah.
bit different from other sports. It's like kind of short term, but this one is like changes in your body one day after the other, so then it's more
Yeah.
difficult to recover.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that sleep deprivation is the worst. I think the food, my advice is, which sometimes I forget, I take it with me, but sometimes I forget, it's multivitamins because I know I'm not getting my vitamins. So just
Hmm.
take like multivitamins. If you take, one for each day, it's
Yeah.
not going to weight anything. Don't worry about it. It's not going to take much space because it's really important when you are doing an ultra treat carbs, prioritize carbs over anything. And you shouldn't also have a lot of fiber because that can create more digestive problems. It slows everything down, and you really need just energy to hit your blood system to keep you going. And yeah,
That's a
so
good point about the fiber. Yeah, also like before the race itself, like carbo loading, but try not to get, like a lot of fiber in because
yeah,
otherwise you just like kind of, there's water retention and with the fiber, and
exactly.
then, not as many carbs available.
Yeah, fiber is great on the day to day. It slows down
Hmm.
your digestion. You don't get like glucose spikes, but when you are in a ultra, you need that glucose
Yeah.
spike you need. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I would just say avoid, prioritize carbs, avoid fiber, and take a multivitamin.
And on the topic of sleep deprivation, you were mentioning that do you like go 1 day, 2 days without sleep during your events, or what's your approach? Do you sleep indoors, outside?
Yeah, so I prefer sleeping inside, which sometimes it's such a shame that you pay for something and you're there for 2, 3 hours. It feels like a
Yeah.
waste, but I'd rather be light and not take the camping stuff. I love the camping when it's bikepacking, pure
Hmm.
bikepacking, not a race, because it's important for me to like, I want to take a shower and maybe wash something and definitely charge everything.
Hmm.
So I prefer to stay indoors, but I do need sleep. I wanted to try when I was in Brazil. I really wanted to try because I was racing alone. Because I have
Hmm.
always done pairs, with my husband or Juliet.
Yeah.
I was alone and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to go without sleep. And
Hmm.
I did about 270, 280K day one. And there was a lot of climb. I don't even remember, almost like 4 or 5,000 meters climb. And I got to CP1. It was about 11 p.m. And I felt I was tired, but I felt good. And I feel
Hmm.
like I think I can continue. But I know myself so well that I think if I had continued, the next night I would probably fall asleep so hard that I would sleep 10 hours and completely defeat the purpose of staying
Yeah.
awake. So I think for me, the formula is to sleep. I'm doing a lot of what you do, of course, not as fast, but try to be as efficient as possible during the day. That's what
Hmm.
Juliet and I did in Portugal. We didn't stop to eat. We stopped at like grocery stores, bought
Yeah.
stuff, ate a little bit sitting on the parking lot, um, and filled up the bottles, filled up the bike, kept going the entire day. But then we stopped around,
Hmm.
sunset was around 9. And we stopped then, had a good dinner,
Yeah.
slept, woke up early, kept going. That's for me the best recipe.
Hmm. And
But
you just
again, I'm not
mentioned,
racing for the
yeah,
front.
yeah,
So
yeah. And you just mentioned about your race in Brazil and that you've done some in Europe. So how this does it compare cycling in South America, Brazil, in comparison to Europe? Is it very different? Would you say the environment, the roads, how people behave?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the races I done here, I think because I mean mainly gravel, but even when I did biking in Portugal, which was tarmac,
Mm-hmm.
it was much more isolated. You go through a lot of spots without anything. Where I felt, I only did well, though Across Sunday was also quite isolated,
Mm-hmm.
but Brazil highly populated.
Yeah.
Rwanda highly populated, Tanzania as well,
Oh wow.
more people in the street, and also, of course, in Africa, a lot of people staring at you,
Yeah.
very curious, a lot of kids. It's nice, it's fun. I really enjoyed that part, showing like your phone, taking pictures of them, showing them the pictures. It's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
sweet. um, I was surprised that Brazil was really, really competitive,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of the races here, or most of the races I've been to, the middle pack, usually I'm the middle pack.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just having a good time. Some people are competitive, but more like, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in Brazil, people were like highly competitive. People are like
Yeah.
going all out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's fun. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think all out for the first 100K. Yeah. I see normally in the race is 100K and then.
Yeah. Yeah, in Portugal we didn't see almost anyone, but yeah, we ended up taking off much later because Juliet forgot her cell phone, so we had to stop and she
Oh,
had to go all the way back to our
oh no.
accommodation to get her phone, and then we started. I mean, there were still people behind us. We I think we made up in time where people stopped to sleep and we continued.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was gravel birds, no?
yeah.
Yeah. How did you find it? It's like a new interesting event.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I mean, I'm suspicious. I love Portugal, but
Yeah.
it's so 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 beautiful. It's called gravel birds because the birds are mating at that time, and they have a lot of different species. It's a
Oh.
protected area,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really really beautiful. Every town has coffee shops; they're always opened. But I thought, oh, 750 kilometers, 8,000 meters, I can do this.
Yeah.
I thought I'm not, I wasn't trained enough, but I thought I have experience. I can do it. 5 days.
Yeah.
We'll sleep. We'll do it. But it was quite technical. It was harder than what we expected, and there was a lot more climb.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was actually almost 12,000 meters climb, not 8,000.
Yeah.
So for someone who hasn't trained, I mean, I'm not giving any excuses. I had a wonderful time and I DNF, but it was a completely happy, conscious decision where I had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, to put simply, I thought about the finish line. I knew in a way, you get status and kudos for finishing, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I would be doing probably for the wrong reasons. I just wanted,
Mm-hmm.
in this stage of my life right now, I probably change my mind later and go back to being competitive. But
Yeah.
what brings me joy are just the basics of being out there in nature with my friend or my husband, enjoying the bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I wasn't in pain or anything, but when you start to feel like you have no power in your legs are a little bit gelatin.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I could keep going, but I didn't want to reach that ultra tired, ultra
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
And I decided, no, this is it for me. I had a wonderful 3.5 days. Juliet
Mm-hmm.
was already ahead of me because
Yeah.
on day 3, I was a little bit slower and there was a lot of climb. So I told her, keep going. I'll see you at CP2.
Yeah.
But then night came. I was 30 kilometers from CP2. And she decided to keep going. And I was like, I'm going to stop here, but I'll try to catch up early tomorrow morning. But then when the
Yeah.
morning came, I was like, I'm going to sleep in. Keep going.
Yeah. And how is racing as a pair? You done some events solo and some with your husband and Juliet. So how does it compare? Is there any you enjoy more, or anything that you say, oh, it's better from pairs or better from solo?
Better in pair. If you have the
Yeah,
right person. If you have the right
yeah.
person. Yeah, I mean, I like solo, but I I have this fear when I'm alone, especially when it's getting dark, or when I'm in the middle of nowhere, even if it's daytime.
Mm-hmm.
It's not panic or anything, but it's a sensation I don't like, and I feel so much more comfortable riding with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if something goes wrong, I have someone there with me. Not that I don't know how to fix my bike or anything. I don't know. When I was in Brazil, I was like, I want to push my limits. I'm alone now. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed, but I did come to the conclusion that I really prefer as a pair. And Juliet and I
Yeah.
get along really, really well. That we we don't need to chit chat. You
Yeah.
know, we get on our zone and we ride together. We talk when we need to. I mean, it's a lot of hours on the bike. You can be chit chatting the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. At some point it's like is that's the ultimate, I think, intimacy with a person. I think being closer
Yeah,
together, just being able to be together but not talking, that it's
exactly.
like you are in your zone, as you said, and it's okay, that's,
Yeah.
I think, when you are really like close to a person, that you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, at the end of the day, when you stop, when everybody's tired or you can't find something, and nobody gets upset with anybody, so we do have a good recipe, we have a good friendship and we get along really well. We never had any argument or anything. When problems arise, we always focus on solution. And yeah, it's we do really well together, and I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, and do you have any funny stories from any of the races that you say, "Oh my
Oh
god,
my gosh. Yes,
it's
there is
good to
this.
share it with a person sometimes, like, because nobody would believe that happened."
Oh, this definitely, it's an unbelievable moment, and it's an infamous story in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Um, we were riding, and there was this big storm coming. The sky was closing, everything is getting dark. There's thunders. We're like, oh my gosh, we better stop for the night. We wanted to get somewhere else, but we're like, we need to stop and find shelter. This is gonna be a major storm. And we're on the phone trying to find something. Like, we really, like, there's nothing around. And then finally we found something. We ride our way there, can't find it. Okay, something else. We ride our way there, and they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, oh, can we stay here? And they're like, oh, how many hours? We're like, no, no, no. We don't know. Like, what's the price? Anyways, it was a love motel, if you will.
Yeah.
You have to pay by the hour.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Very
we get
practical.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, Rwanda is the cleanest and safest country I've been to. So this is not
Yeah.
testament to what the country is, but
Yeah.
they had, like, rubber sheets on the bed.
Uh-huh.
And we were joking that if we turn one of those fluorescent lights, the room would light up. And there was no water
Yeah.
in the bathroom, so we couldn't shower, we couldn't clean anything. We just put
Yeah.
our rain jacket over the pillows and slept on top of our rain
Yeah.
jacket. And yeah, that was a rough night. Yeah, there was a dog barking all night. We didn't have
Oh.
dinner. Yeah, they asked what we wanted to eat, and they brought something. And good on Juliet, she didn't want to be rude, so she had a few bites. But I told her, like, I always thought I was more adventurous than her, but she won. She's the most adventurous one.
You had the love menu.
Yeah, we had the love menu. Yeah,
Oh my
hundred
god, those are the
percent.
funniest stories. It's like you are like, it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was another
Oh.
time too that I was so, so, so cold and couldn't warm up. And this guy was in the same place I was. I was so stinky. And he's like, "Oh, here, you can have my jacket." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I'm stinky, I've been riding for days. And he insisted. I was just like, okay. And he
Yeah.
probably thought I was crazy because I kept on like sniffing his jacket, like, oh, you smell
It smells
so
clean.
good. You smell so good. He was like, this
Oh
lady's
my god.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you only realize like how bad you smell when it's been a few days after the ultra and you made your clothes. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. In Rwanda, I kept on putting eucalyptus leaves under my jersey
Yeah.
because they had so many
Oh.
eucalyptus trees. I was like, let me put some eucalyptus leaves here to see if it gets better.
That's a good trick, actually. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
it
god.
works.
Yeah, I think sometimes we miss get lost in the competition and miss like just to enjoy the moment. I think I'm at the point same as you. I kind of enjoy competition, but now I'm like, why am I going through pain when I could just go and enjoy? Bikepacking. So it's like kind of going backwards. So it's like, oh, now I want to enjoy instead of suffer. You can still challenge yourself, but you don't need to suffer as much. And it's the point sometimes, as you said, you can do it, so why suffering
Yeah, exactly.
instead of
Like I do on the
enjoying?
challenge. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah,
love a
yeah,
challenge. It's so nice to have like a super tough day on the bike and feel
yeah,
so tired and keep
yeah,
going. But yeah, not to the point of where you're like, I'm lost, your brain is
yeah,
not functioning, you're tired, there's nothing to eat. And yeah, I don't want to get to that point. But it's funny because I still want to go to ultras because it's just so nice to have like the route cut out and you meet
hmm,
so many, there's always so many cool people to meet at those events.
yeah,
And I love just passing the side. I mean, it's so nice to go bikepacking, but then it's just you and your buddy. I
yeah,
mean, nothing wrong with that, but it's just so nice
yeah,
to keep on passing people and sharing stories. Yeah, I miss that.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
want to continue to try to do it, not competitively for now.
Yeah. Yeah, the funniest is the frenemies. You are like
Yeah,
overtaking each
where is
other all the
she?
time. Yeah, but at the end of the race, it's like you are like, oh my God. So,
Yeah,
the closest relation is like, where did you sleep? I didn't see you on the
yeah,
road. And then you see their
yeah,
tail lights or the bike is, I recognize Funky Socks. Sometimes
yeah,
I don't know their
yeah.
names, so I just give them like a
That's
name.
a good idea.
This is Funky Socks. This is like a orange bag. At some point, maybe in the night, if I bump into them, I ask them the name. But it's quite funny. Then
That's
you
so
share the
funny.
stories at the end of
Yeah.
the race. So that's something, yeah, indeed, you don't get into the bikepacking, let's say, outside of the events. And sometimes, like, the organization, like for example in Badlands, how everybody in the villages are just out there cheering the riders. That's so special.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really, really special. I love that.
Yeah. And what's next for you? Do you have any plans for more events or with the podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is very busy, which I'm so excited. I never thought like, people are really receptive and wanting to participate. So there's a lot of cool stuff on the pipeline. Um, I even talked to this pair of girls. What is it called? Artistic cycling. So I never
Hmm.
even knew they existed. It's really fun. Um, but for me, as far as races, I mean, I love gravel racing. I haven't done as much because the field is so fast now. It's really
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. But I am going to one. It's called Stone Circle in
Mm-hmm.
the UK, and it
Mm.
goes around. It goes close to Stonehenge. It's 130k. They have different
Yeah.
distance. I'm doing the 130, but we're making a whole weekend out of it, camping.
Nice.
So should be nice. But as far as ultras, I have an invitation to go to Via Games. Via Race.
Via race. Yeah, I think it finishes this year in the Netherlands, actually.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
actually. Zone to Speak is going to be part of the media team. So
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna. Yeah, it's going to be my first race broadcasting. So I'm
Oh,
excited about
excited.
that.
Yeah.
And then they are having. I don't know if I should say testing out, but they're having their first second event that they are creating,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be like an ultra game. I don't know how
Oh,
it
cool.
works, but it's going
Yeah.
to be cops against robbers.
Uh-huh. Wow.
It sounds like the robbers have to go to different castles and the cops have to catch them. I don't have much details, but that's the end of the year and should be quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's really fun to bring some fun games into
Yeah, a
the
different
scene.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you be a race, or you would be just with
No,
the media team?
just media.
Yes.
No way I can do 4,000. Trying to finish 1,000, Sherry, not 4,000.
Step by step, right?
Step by step. I'll get there. I'll get there.
I'm maybe it's my Latin side. It's not that everybody from Latin America is like this, but we tend to be driven by emotions. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to do this.
Totally driven.
Yeah. It's like, I sign up first and then I look.
Yeah, we'll
And then
figure it
you're
out
like-
later.
Yeah, exactly. I sign up and then figure out, it was longer than I expected. Or as you said, more elevation.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, wait, I didn't plan for all this elevation. What do I do now?
Oh,
And we
wow,
have a
that's
more
really
backpacking
cool.
trip.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, huh?
Stay tuned.
That's really exciting. We should definitely meet when you come to the Netherlands.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't know the dates exactly, but I think it's around August something that the race finishes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so we wrap it up here. I'm going to leave the link to the Song to Speak podcast
Awesome.
in the link in the description so you don't miss it. There's a lot of cool episodes there, and also to your Instagram. And thank you so much for joining
Thank
me
you.
today, Juliana. It was so lovely speaking to you.
So much fun. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be your guest.
Thank you. Until the next one.
Next one.